This is a WWN Publishing Group recording. Copyright 2016, all rights reserved. This is an abridged version of Killmore by Martha Sweeney to make the story appropriate for all listeners. If you want to read the complete story, you can find the ebook or paperback online. Links are provided in the description below. Killmore, Book 1 of the 2-book series. Read to you by the author. Chapter 11, Laurie. By Monday morning, after my exercise regimen, I'm in the cafe checking in on last week's numbers and what's expected for this week's deliveries. The restaurant is a little busier with another group of tourists already in from this past weekend. As I finish up in the office, my cell phone rings. "How are you holding up?" the woman's voice asks on the other line. "Good," I say impassively, closing the door to the office so my conversation isn't overheard. "Still alive. You?" "Good, thanks," she answers. "Anything you want to talk about?" "Nope," I return. "Come on, Laurie," she coaxes. "We do this same routine every year since you dropped me off in this town, Becky," I state. "You call, we say the same bullshit." "And I come visit on occasion," she reminds. "Yep," I confirm. "How's the cafe going?" "Good," I say. "You checking in to make sure I'm paying my taxes?" "Haha, very funny," she replies. "Well, since I'm making so much money, I figured the government would want some of it like they do for everyone else," I remark. "Not paying them was part of the deal," she reminds. "Just making sure they don't go back on their deal," I answer. "You know how wishy-washy the government can be." "I'll be stopping by in 2 weeks," she shares. "Why?" "Like I always do," she presents. "You're not bringing any weirdos with you, are you?" I check. "Just the husband," she confirms. "The real one or the pretend one?" "Very funny," she answers. "I'm not a fan of that pretend one," I share. "You're not a fan of any of them except me," she accuses. "With good reason," I charge. "Just because you had a couple of bad experiences with men doesn't mean that all of them are bad," Becky debates. I don't comment. "Want me to bring anything?" she asks. "Nah," I reply. "I'm good." "Okay, then," she answers. "See you in 2 weeks." "See you," I bid. "What made you all pissy?" Trudy searches after knocking on the door and opening it when I tell her to come in. "Nothing," I reply. "Cody calling again?" "No," I huff. "Ah," Trudy signs. I study her. "Ah? Ah, what?" "Nothing," she giggles. "Just say it," I comment. "I think someone needs to get laid, is all," she says quietly. "You're one to talk," I goad. "I'm working on it," she replies quietly. "Who?" I press. "No one." I smile because I know who. "You should double team them," I laugh. "You're disgusting," she accuses. "What woman wouldn't want to do 2 hot brothers?" I giggle. "Me," she replies. "Bullshit," I goad. "They wouldn't go for it, even if I considered it," she remarks. "Ha! So you have thought about it," I tease. "Derek might go for it, but I think Cody's too much of a pussy to do it." "You're nasty," Trudy says, trying to act disgusted by my words. "You love my dirty mind," I tease. Trudy doesn't reply. "I'm done, so I'm heading home. Call if you need anything," I say. "Will do, boss," she confirms, turning toward the main part of the kitchen as I exit. The dogs and I make our way through the cafe, and I nod through my sunglasses to a few patrons who smile at me. As I approach the door, a handsome blue-eyed man with dark hair takes a step back, gesturing for me to continue walking as he holds the door open. My lady parts tingle instantly, and the brief whiff of his manly musk aroma, paired with one-day-old scruff, heightens my desires. Hot damn, is this man sexy. "Good morning," his sultry voice greets. I smile and nod, grateful for the fact that I have my shades on, because I know my eyes are gawking and have the look of "fuck me senseless, please." "Good morning," adds the older gentleman standing next to him. I glance at the man briefly, smile, nod, and return my gaze to Mr. Hotstuff before heading toward the truck. I love tourist season. There are so many men ripe for the picking during this time of year, aside from the fact that it's one of the ways to get Cody off my back about a relationship. As long as I don't see a tourist with a wedding ring, the neon sign above their head says "Open for fucking" in my book. Anytime tourists come in, I watch them from a distance for a few days just to make sure they aren't married. Even if they're married and flirt, I'll flirt back, but I'm not willing to be the reason a marriage ends, happy or not. I've got a great feeling that this tourist season is going to be a good, hot, sexy one. With food in hand, the dogs and I drop a bag off in the truck and then lock up, heading to visit Mr. Leonard at his office to deliver his lunch. Since Esther hasn't been able to cook much lately, I've been treating either one or both of them to meals to help with the burden. Today, Trudy made Mr. Leonard's favorite, grilled chicken on spelt bread, mustard mayo, lettuce, tomato, cheese, and avocado, with sweet potato fries and a mini fruit tart. "Hey, Mr. Leonard," I greet, walking into his office. His secretary always lets me in, unless he's in an important meeting. "Hi, darlin'," he replies. "How's business today?" I inquire. "Good," he answers. "Slow, but good. I know it'll pick up here within the next week." Mr. Gerald Leonard has had his own law practice since just 5 years after he graduated college. He and Esther moved to town when they found out that the previous lawyer decided to retire. Retirement, in Mr. Leonard's terms, is for when he's dead and buried. Mike, Trudy's husband, worked for Mr. Leonard as a secondary lawyer for the town. Mr. Leonard has yet to be able to fill Mike's shoes. "Have you met your new neighbor yet?" he inquires. I raise my brow. "What?" he asks. "Since when have you known me to go up and meet my neighbors?" I search. "Well, it is easy for pigs to fly with the use of airplanes and all," Mr. Leonard chuckles, taking a bite of his sandwich. "Right," I say, just like me developing a sunny disposition for strangers, and walk the half-mile over to my neighbor and say, "Hi, I'm Laurie. Golly gee, it's nice to meet you." "Good point," Mr. Leonard chuckles, "but there's always time to try something new." "Thanks, but I'll pass," I answer. "Suit yourself," he returns. After chatting a little longer with Mr. Leonard as he eats, the dogs and I head home, eager to get away from the extra bodies that are in the streets. I'm motivated by the idea of releasing some tension when I get home. I can't get Mr. Hot Stuff out of my head. This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. To read the full, unabridged version, you can find a link in the description below. To find out about new releases before the general public, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find a link in the description as well. Also, to be notified when the next chapter is published, make sure you subscribe to my channel.